Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Virginia is home to a number of record-setting trees. Mark Viette shows us some unusual flower varieties that can add extra color in the garden. And hot summer days call for cold ice cream.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from Richland's Dairy and Creamery in Dinwiddie County. Ice cream is a year-round treat, but summer is the perfect time to seek out a new ice cream parlor. We'll visit a few in a couple of minutes. But first, did you know there are 86 national champion trees in Virginia? Burke Moeller has more.
There's something awe-inspiring about seeing a big tree in person. From the shade it brings on a hot summer day, to the sheer size of some of them, and just thinking about how long some of them have been around to have grown so tall. Trees inspire peace and contemplation, even with the haze of the Canadian wildfires creating a milky backdrop. This bur oak at Virginia Tech is known as the Alford tree, named after Professor William Bradford Alford, who is believed to have planted the tree in 1895. Its crown covers nearly an acre.
This tree was originally nominated to the Virginia Big Tree Register in 2010, and it measures in at 296 big tree points. And what that score is a combination of the height of the tree, the spread of its crown, and the girth of its trunk.
Cooperative Extension runs the Virginia Big Tree Program, which seeks to document the largest trees found in the state. Some of the biggest trees can be found in remote areas like the Jefferson and George Washington National Forests. Others are in hard-to-get places or developed areas, such as cities with old graveyards, parks, and universities, such as this 96-foot-tall Fraser fir at Woodbine Cemetery in Harrisonburg.
This is a historic cemetery, of course, with the Union soldiers and the Confederate soldiers here. There's a lot of history here, so people do come to the cemetery on the holidays. It's 18 acres. There's 11,000 sites. Over 9,000 folks are buried here. So, you know, the loved ones that are buried here underneath the tree or surrounding the tree, I'm sure the families appreciate every time they come out and to think about their loved ones and are able to stand under such a magnificent tree.
The tallest trees of a given species in Virginia make the state big tree list, and some of those trees are also the tallest of their species in the United States. Those are designated national champions by the group American Forests. This Osage orange tree is a state and national champion. Experts used a technique called dendrochronology to estimate its age at about 350 years old. It sits at the Patrick Henry Memorial Site in Charlotte County.
What's interesting about this particular tree is its growth habit, in that it doesn't have one single trunk that's really easy to measure like most of the big trees that we have. Instead, it comprises 7 different trunks that sprouted up from the ground. And so this was an example of a tree that was very challenging to measure.
The national champion honey locust tree towers over Fincastle's Godwin Cemetery in Botetourt County. It's 103 feet high with a 112-foot crown and is estimated to be at least 200 years old. It's a popular spot for wedding photos, and church parishioners serve lemonade under the tree after the 11 o'clock service, according to the Botetourt Bee newspaper. Of course, some trees are harder to get to. The journey to the national champion tulip poplar tree begins with a 30-minute car ride from Bedford, followed by a 45-minute hike through the woods.
Unlike the Fincastle and Harrisonburg trees, this one is not publicly accessible.
Right.
You got to make a little bit of a hike for this one.
Wiseman led a team from Virginia Tech to check up on the tree, which is on private property. Seeing it in person was well worth the sweat required to get there. Wiseman's team showed us how they measured the trunk's girth. All tree trunks are measured 4 feet off the ground. This one even has a 10-foot cavity at the base that visitors can step inside if they want to. The crack in the base may have been what kept the tree from being cut down for timber in earlier years, so in a way, its flaws are what allowed it to thrive and become one of Virginia's standout trees. For more information about Virginia's Big Tree program, go to bigtree.cnre.vt.edu. In Bedford County, I'm Burke Moeller reporting.
Looking at big trees is just part of the appeal of visiting a Virginia forest. Forestry is the state's third largest industry, contributing more than $21 billion a year to the economy and employing more than 108,000 people. In addition to providing a source of income for rural landowners, trees are a vital part of the state's ecosystem, and forests contribute to the state's tourism industry. Visitors to national and state parks and forests enjoy all the clean air and water associated with trees. There are 41 state parks welcoming visitors with thousands of campsites and cabins from the Cumberland Gap to the Atlantic Ocean.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, I'm going to talk about some great flowering plants that you can grow in your own backyard. Stay with us.
Farming is a rewarding way of life, but it can also be full of challenges. If you or someone you know is struggling, call or text the AgriStress helpline at 833-897-2473. It offers 24/7 access to professionals who can support someone in need and help find mental health services in your community. Please make the call, because healthy farms depend on healthy farm families. That's 833-897-2474.
One key to a successful garden is to always be working ahead. Mark Viette has some tips if you'd like to add some flowering plants in the garden.
Some plants are easy to find, some plants are more difficult to find. The gas plant is probably going to be one of those plants that's going to be difficult to find. But we've had it in the garden here for 25 years. And it's beautiful. There's a white form, and this is the pink form. And the bumblebees and the honeybees love this plant. It's known as Dictamnus rubra, but you're going to have to search online for this. When we grew it from seed, the seed had to go through a 2-year dormancy time period to be able to germinate. Again, that's the gas plant, and it really likes full sun. Nepeta is a great spring, late spring, early summer. Some of the varieties of Nepeta, some people say Nepeta, can bloom for 4 or 5 months. And it attracts the honeybees, love it. And so there's honeybees all over this plant. So we need to really think about all pollinators. Now remember, honeybees are just part of the group of pollinators. There are many other types of pollinators: wasps, moths, butterflies, many different types. But again, you can have Nepeta, and they really like full sun, tough conditions, just like this. An easy to grow, super hardy plant is red hot poker. And there's probably 150 different types and colors and different heights. But when my parents moved here to the Shenandoah Valley, we found an old-fashioned red hot poker that has been grown in the Shenandoah Valley for about 150 years. And we actually named it Shenandoah. And it was known as Tritoma, now it's Nymphophia, but remember red hot poker. And this particular variety, and only this variety, attracts the orchard oriole and the Baltimore oriole. Now, I haven't seen them yet this year, but the finches love to feed on the little stamens. So the orioles feed all the way up and get the sugar, which I've tasted. It's very sweet. And then the house finches and other finches feed on the stamens. So it's a great bird attracting plant that you can have in your own garden. Wild indigo is a super hardy, long-lived plant. It's one of the plants that I can recommend for meadow plantings. It'll live for 50 years. And it was used as a dye in Tennessee and Kentucky. And it's not native to those areas, but it has persisted and it continues to grow just as if it was a native plant. Long-lived. And there's also other colors. There's yellows, there's light blues, there's deep blues, there's dwarf varieties that you can grow in your garden. But again, a very long-lived. It's a plant that loves full sun, and it has these beautiful flowers and then seed pods later in the year. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Hi, I'm Tammy Brawley from The Green Kitchen. Coming up on Heart of the Home, roasted radishes. We hope you'll stay with us.
Our cow, she walks into the barn and she gets milked. Milk's taken from her and put through a chiller. And that milk's taken from body temperature of a cow, which is about 102.5, and dropped to 35 degrees and put straight onto a tractor trailer. And it goes straight to the plant the next day. So most of the milk that's sitting on your store shelves is probably less than 48 hours old. And that's a pretty good testament to how efficient we are.
Virginia radishes are a hearty and tasty addition to any salad. Chef Tammy Brawley has a simple recipe to enjoy them another way, in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from The Green Kitchen. Welcome to Heart of the Home. I'm excited today to show you a recipe that I discovered a couple of years ago. Actually discovered it in a restaurant on a plate of food that I had, delicious plate, and decided to start creating these on my own, and that is roasted radishes. What I love about things is when you change the texture of a certain vegetable or a fruit, it changes the taste. For instance, if you were to take a grape, eat the grape by itself, tastes delicious, but the next one, I'm serious, peel it and then pop that one in your mouth. Completely different texture. Same thing with Brussels sprouts. You can either roast a Brussels sprout or you can shave them into little discs and then saute those, and again, it's the same vegetable, but you've changed the texture and you've changed the taste. So what we're going to do today are roasted radishes. These are beautiful radishes. If they're really, really big like these are, I would recommend that you cut them. So we're going to cut a few of them up. I'm going to say the largest ones. Pop them into a bowl. We're not going to do very many. I love these. I actually prefer these roasted versus being in a salad and cold. So we have some cut radishes in a bowl. We're going to add a little olive oil to them. And we're going to do a little salt. Now in this case, I'm actually not going to use pepper because the radishes are kind of peppery themselves. I don't really think that we need the pepper. So we're just going to move the radishes around in the bowl. And we're going to pop them on an aluminum foil sheet tray. I do kind of like to do them skin side down. I feel like I don't know, they just tend to roast better. You want to put these in about a 400 to a 425 degree oven, depending on your oven, and they probably want to go about 15-20 minutes. I always like to give a range there because I don't know your oven like you do, and you might have a convection setting that would take off less time. So we're going to pop these into the oven for about 15-20 minutes, and we'll be back. All right, so our radishes have been in the oven for about 20 minutes or so. We're going to pull them and we're going to put them on a plate. As you can see, they are somewhat shriveled. That's the texture that you're sort of looking for. And we're going to take them off of the pan and put them on a plate. I cannot tell you how much I enjoy these. I try to make them for my clients, but I end up eating more than I give to them. They are absolutely delicious. They're delicious hot. They're delicious cold. Again, I came across these in a restaurant. I loved the meal that I had there, and I decided to recreate these on my own. And there you have it, roasted radishes. I'm Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com/recipes, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website at greenkitchenrichmond.com.
Virginia-grown radishes are almost exclusively sold directly to consumers at farmers markets and consumer-supported agriculture operations. The latest Census of Agriculture reports they're grown on 152 farms in the Old Dominion, with 33 acres in production. Radishes are a root crop that thrives in cooler weather. You should plant them as soon as the soil can be worked after winter, or in late August to avoid the heat of midsummer. Hot weather causes the plants to bolt and the roots to become strong-flavored and woody. Most gardeners harvest radishes when they're about the size of a U.S. quarter.
How does a nice car ride and an ice cream treat sound on a hot summer day? Norm Hyde reports that's what some folks are doing on Virginia's mouth-watering ice cream trail.
Winding through northern Virginia and the Shenandoah Valley, the mouth-watering ice cream trail entices visitors to enjoy some of Virginia's finest frozen treats. We couldn't visit all of them for this story, but here is the scoop on 3 of them, starting with Carl's Frozen Custard.
Carl's was opened in 1947. Last year we celebrated 75 years. Carl was my uncle. Carl was originally from Pennsylvania, and the entire family lived there. It was a small town near York, and little ice cream shops were very famous around there. So when he decided to come down here and break off on his own, he decided to just continue what he had learned in Pennsylvania about frozen custard and ice cream shops. Carl, back in the 1940s and 50s, he was an avid hunter. So when business got slower in the winter, he decided, I'm going to shut down, I'm going to go hunting, and then I will open up again. What he discovered from that was when customers love a product and you take it away from them, they can't wait to come back. So when we opened in February, we could have a blizzard, we could have 10 feet of snow. I have pictures of that, and the line will go down the block.
So, what's the secret ingredient that keeps people coming back for more?
The secret is of the machines. We use ElectroFreeze machines. They were actually hand-honed and handmade back in the 40s and 50s. And each machine is very unique in that the cylinders and everything fits that one particular machine. We can make small adjustments the old-fashioned way with hammers and molds, but otherwise, sometimes one machine might not fit, the parts might not fit into another one. We've never changed the recipes, we've never changed how we do things. We make this fresh every single day. We make it up to 3 times a day, and when we run out at night, it's done until the next day, and then we start over. It's as fresh as you can get it.
You can't have any frozen dairy treats without dairy farmers. Even though the industry has shrunk in recent years, dairy farming is still the 5th largest sector in Virginia's ag economy, with almost $298 million in milk sales each year. For our second scoop on this trip, a quick jaunt up Route 17 from Fredericksburg takes us to the small town of Remington, where dairy farmer Ken Smith was inspired by a different type of herd.
We were harvesting one day, and it was a hot day, and we were sitting at an intersection waiting for the traffic to go by, and I was hot and miserable, and I saw all the people riding by the stoplight, and they all were happy, and they were heading south, looking like they were going to enjoy a weekend away. And I thought, huh.
And with that, the idea for Moo Through was born. This homemade ice cream shop now has 7 locations across the Commonwealth, but it all began here in Northern Virginia, which once was one of the largest dairy regions in the state.
We're making hundreds and hundreds of gallons of ice cream every day. We hand make this ice cream. We hand batch it. We wouldn't want to serve anything that is not completely and utterly terrific. We handle the quality of this product from cow to cone, and that we know our cows, we know the environment. We are really, really concerned about the environment, our water, our soil, and our cows. They're just like family to us. We've been in Virginia on the dairy farm for 50 years. Well, actually 53 years. We passed it on to the next generation, so we know that that farm will continue to stay in operation.
Like Carl's, Muthru harkens back to a simpler time.
So nostalgia plays a big part of the way this building is designed and the way we've decided to serve as a walk-up only. People want to get together. They want to enjoy their time outside. People can sit at the table and talk with one another and enjoy an ice cream social, the old-fashioned ice cream social.
Our third scoop is the Split Banana in Stanton, where they opened in 2008. The folks there also believe in offering old-time service and value at their gelato shop.
Basically, there is a difference between gelato and ice cream. Gelato is really the Italian style of ice cream, and it's made with a lot less air and has a lot more flavor. Generally, people will taste it and they'll say, oh my gosh, it's so smooth, it's so creamy. And oftentimes in those flavors, there's no cream at all, just whole milk, but it's so smooth because of the production and how it's made, and it's just delicious.
The Shenandoah Valley is in the heart of Virginia dairy country, and the folks at the Split Banana rely on local dairy farmers for most of their ingredients.
So, for example, our vanilla beans are from Madagascar, but the dairy that we use are actually from 2 Virginia creameries. So we use Man Crawford Creamery and also Homestead Creamery. We get one at the beginning of the week and one towards the end of the week from 2 different creameries just to keep us going and in stock. As in summer, there just isn't enough room to store everything, and we just go through it extremely fast. A lot of our customers, first-time customers, they have no idea what gelato is, and they may initially be turned off by the concept or the term when they're so used to ice cream being the term that's used. So that sometimes is a challenge, but what we just do is explain what gelato is. It really is just the Italian style of ice cream, but it's made with a lot less air, so it has a lot more flavor. Once we explain that, customers then are super open, and we offer samples. We have no limit on samples. You can try as many flavors as you'd like.
Since 2008, the mission statement of the Split Banana has been to make Stanton a better place. Fox says buying and selling their products locally is very important to them, and freshness is a mantra for them.
We make our gelato from scratch along with our sorbets, which are the dairy-free options. They're simply fruit, sugar, water, and honey. We make everything in store fresh every day, but we even try to go beyond that. Our hot fudge is homemade. Our strawberry toppings are strawberries that we chop up, and we add some sugar and make the strawberry topping ourselves. Our whipped cream isn't out of a can. It's not something you might buy at the store. It's made with that local dairy, heavy cream.
Frozen custard, gelato, or homemade ice cream. Take your pick or take a scoop of each. Check out these shops or visit the other locations on the Mouth-Watering Ice Cream Trail on the Only in Your State website. Bring your family and your appetite. Reporting from Richmond, I'm Norm Hyde.
We're so glad you could join us this week to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Every spring and fall, Virginia farmers and other motorists nearly collide on rural roads. Sometimes these collisions can be dangerous or even fatal. Glenn Keller of Shenandoah County says when a car traveling 55 miles an hour suddenly meets much slower moving farm equipment, the odds of a collision shoot up.
It's pretty dangerous when you get out on the road because we have a lot of hills in this valley, blind hills where you don't know what may be coming on the other side of those hills. And when we move something wide like the piece of equipment behind me, we usually have an escort in front. But if the people don't pay attention to that, you have to be prepared to react pretty quick. we'll get to a blind hill and someone will follow you for a mile or so, and they finally get enough of it, want to go around, and they're usually upset and pick the wrong place.
Farm equipment operators are required to display a slow-moving vehicle emblem when they're on a public road. When you see that, or any farm vehicle, slow down. Give them plenty of space to do their job so you both can go home safely. This message brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation Safety Advisory Committee.
Today, consumers want to know about where their food comes from more than ever before. Nearly 90% of Americans trust farmers and ranchers. That's one of the highest trust ratings of any profession in America, and it gives Farm Bureau members an amazing platform to tell their stories. The Farm Bureau Promotion and Education Program empowers farmers to share their story with consumers, bridging the gap between field and fork.
Consumers want to hear from farmers. We are the voice of agriculture, and for us to talk about our operations, to talk about farming, and to talk about agriculture as a whole is really what our consumers want. They want transparency, and they want us to share what we do every single day, and nobody knows it better than us.
Promotion and Education is a committee on the national level and county and state level that actually helps us as farmers have tools to talk to anybody that is interested about agriculture. I say I talk to people from 8 to 88, and anybody who wants to learn about what we're doing on the farm, I want to be that person to talk to, and Promotion and Education gives me the tools to do that.
Farm Bureau programs offer all Farm Bureau volunteers the chance to get involved at the local, state, and national levels. A variety of promotion and education activities occur each year, engaging members of all ages. At the American Farm Bureau Convention, the Promotion and Education Committee offers members an action-oriented consumer engagement program called CCI, Communicate, Collaborate, and Influence. Target Training is the program's premier national consumer engagement training that aims to inspire and equip farmers and ranchers to identify and highlight values they have in common with consumers to successfully share the story of agriculture with diverse audiences.
The Promotion and Education Committee, to me, is extremely important for me to share my story, voice my opinion, and be able to make that connection with the consumers. It's really important for me to share our beautiful lifestyle with those who don't get the opportunity to experience at any other time.
Connecting consumers with where their food comes from and making sure that they understand what we do to make sure that they're getting safe and healthy food. The same food that I feed my children is the food that I grow and I put in the stores for them. And that's so important to help gain confidence in what we do.
People don't know what they don't know, and farm life is not familiar to most Americans today. As the nation's largest grassroots general farm organization, our members are the voice of agriculture. The Promotion and Education Program gives members all across the country the opportunity to work together to elevate the story of agriculture.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.